got called to me, that's what it was.
Oh, I slid in sideways, didn't I? Usually Commissioner Purvis does that.
I was ready to hit it.
Just barely. Good morning, everyone. It's 10 a.m. I want to remind everyone, if you haven't already done so, to please turn off any devices or cell phones that you might have. At this time, we would like to ask Brian Morton from Onalaska Methodist Church to please lead us in prayer.
Would you bow with me? Gracious and merciful God, we give you thanks for this beautiful day, for all the opportunities that you will place before us. Give us eyes to see you where you will lead us. For those who lead, we pray your peace upon them, your wisdom and diligence in the task before them. For those who come to speak, let there be wisdom also, and thoughtfulness. Let us be careful with each other's time and in each other's presence. We ask your blessing upon all here gathered. And when we go, may we all go with you. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Sir, Madam Clerk?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, did anyone sign up for public comment? Yes, ma'am. You can just pass it down. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Lambeth.
You was late getting in here, but I wanted to ask about Matthew. I don't hear nothing, and Kimmy told me to ask you how he's doing.
Hey, Mr. Lambeth, I appreciate your concern. He's headed home today.
Today?
Yes, sir, and so he will be home with home health. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, last meeting, there was a little bit of confusion in terms of what the public comment means. One of the statements that was made was that there was no opportunity to speak. So public comment is for what Mr. Lambeth did, is basically to speak or reference to the court. Because that is the only time that the public technically has an opportunity to speak or to present their case, because they cannot start interjecting or interrupting while the court proceedings are going on, unless you're called upon by someone on the court that says, hey, you know, if they know you're here for a particular reason, then a lot of times they will ask you specifically. So I just wanted to clarify the significance of public comment, because in our case, we do not limit public comment to only what is on the agenda. But the public, that's the public's opportunity to speak up, to express a concern, and if it needs to be added to a court agenda further down the road, then it's up to the members of this court to make that decision or make that consideration. Okay, information reports. We have several information reports before we get to the little cute ones up here. First of all, I want to congratulate our Commissioner Robertson for being recognized as an outstanding member of the community for her service by MTC. So she was in the newspaper. And then also I want to tell y'all that Rotary Club donated their 100,000th book to a child from Polk County through Dolly Parton Imagination Library. And so that is an investment in our youth, which I think will benefit not just us, but any place else those children go, because their reading capabilities have been improved. And with that, let's go to our proclamation declaring July 3rd through the 8th, 2023 as Youth Rodeo Week in Polk County. I think we all know what the Youth Rodeo does and how our kids all benefit from that. And so we have these young people and their sponsors, their more experienced sponsors, here to support them. Okay, red pen. Okay, Ally, or one of you more experienced people wanna step up to the podium and explain to us what this is about?
Mr. Bobby? Oh, my goodness, I'm losing my voice.
You're good.
The Polk County Youth Rodeo Association is a 501c3, for anybody that doesn't know, to promote rodeo, youth rodeo, also to keep it alive. You know, over the years, we've seen a decline in the number of kids that participate in rodeos, and we're just trying to keep it going. We do a lot of other things at the arena. You know, the Trinity Natchez is there. We are responsible for maintaining the facility. If you come out at night, turn on the lights, it looks like an airport. We've got brand new lights that just went up, LED lights. We plan on putting some fans in there. We've redone quite a few things. There's a lot that's gone on over the past few years. I used to be involved in it many, many years ago when my kids were young. And I stepped back for quite a while, and then I'm back in it because now I have grandchildren. And I said to myself this morning that I shouldn't have to go through those teenage years again, but you're gonna have to. But it's just a lot of fun. We receive a lot of support from our community. We could not do it without our sponsors, without, you know, the people that help us, you know, promote the youth rodeo. So it's just a lot of fun. I strongly suggest and invite everybody, if you haven't been to the Polk County Youth Rodeo, it is hot, that is the truth, but it is so much fun. It is fun watching those kids come out there, and I'm telling you, there's some of them that are serious about what they're doing. So please, I invite everybody this year, come out. It's the 5th through the 8th, starts at 7 o'clock. A lot of pomp and circumstance, and just, it's something to watch if you haven't done it. And I know a lot of y'all in your youth were involved in that.
Thank you,
So,
Patty.
you're welcome.
You'll wanna come out here and we'll take a photo and I will give you all the proclamation.
Come on, guys. Which picture, mate? There's gonna be a few of them. That's
Rescue
right.
your house.
Rescue, oh.
Yeah, rescue your house.
Rescue, I thought,
Stick it in my seat. So, in case y'all are wondering, Ally has a horse named Sydney.
And she
So-
is the sweetest thing that ever walked the face of the
Named
earth.
after her namesake. So, Sydney and Sydney went on a trail ride with Ally. My granddaughter Sydney, and Sydney the horse, and me.
You ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's do one more. 1, 2, 3. Great, thank you.
Thank you so much, Judge. We really appreciate
Oh,
it.
not a problem, thank you.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, here. Take it that direction, it's gonna need Shalena's.
All right. Come on, guys, we'll go out this door. I gotta get to business.
Thank you.
Thank y'all so much. We
Y'all
appreciate
be
y'all.
careful.
Okay. Item number 4, new business. We have a consent agenda. On B, you have several addendums. Addendum number 1, in the amount of $1,384. Addendum number 2, in the amount of $262,726.52. Addendum number 3, in the amount of $20,250.59. Addendum number 4, in the amount of $327,070.55. Is there anything on the consent agenda that you wish to pull? Just for your information, because when we get further on in the agenda, you're gonna see that we moved the receive and record personnel action forms onto the consent agenda. That's item E. That is only for the PAF submitted by elected officials, since it's just a receive and record, and there's really actually no true vote other than accepting.
So moved.
Motion to approve Commissioner Purvis. Second, Commissioner Robertson. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, consider approval of personnel matters as follows. Review and consideration of personnel action form requests submitted by department heads since the last meeting, and review of any authorized emergency hiring. We've included the listing of the PAFs in there for you, and if there are no objections to anyone, I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner
Second.
Cassidy, second Commissioner Dubus, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, consider request for revisions and amendments to the budget as follows. The FY 2023 budget revisions and amendments is presented by the County Auditor's Office. A copy of the proposed revisions, number 2023-17, and amendments 2023-17A is included for your review. Do I have a motion?
I make the motion.
Motion Commissioner Robertson. Second Commissioner Cassidy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item number 7, designate a second Polk County representative to serve on the Rural Transportation Planning Organization with DETCOG, which is the Deep East Texas Council of Governments. DETCOG informed us that we currently have no second representative for Polk County on the DETCOG Planning Organization. I currently serve on this committee more as an I-69 representative, and so they've asked for a second representative to be appointed. Right now, Commissioner Robertson is representing Polk County on the DETCOG board. Commissioner Cassidy represents us on the DETCOG Solid Waste and Recycling Committee. And so that leaves Commissioner Dubos. I am gonna ask Commissioner Purvis to start being a representative on the TxDOT meetings, because one of the things that I think we need is to make sure with I-69 coming through Polk County, with I-14 eventually coming through Polk County, that we have good representation on everything that is transportation or transit related. So first I need to know, are you interested in participating with TxDOT?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so.
And I'll nominate Commissioner Dubose for the other.
I'll second. Okay, Commissioner Dubose. You were even here to defend yourself. Usually that happens when no one's here to defend themselves. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that should cover Polk County and have us well represented all the way around. Okay, number 8, discuss and consider any and all necessary action regarding bid number 2023-13, which is the Corrigan Courthouse renovation, including the remodel and disposal of construction debris to be paid from the restoration projects funds. If y'all will recall, when we initially discussed it, during budget development, we agreed that we would include a not-to-exceed amount of $150,000 for this project on the capital purchase projection. But then, when we had some additional funds come in and we transferred them into the restoration projects fund, then the court felt like we would be better served, instead of incurring that debt at a higher interest level, to take the high interest benefits and use them to our advantage by not incurring that debt. So it will be paid, the court's consideration to be paid from the restoration projects funds, which is money that is currently already budgeted.
I visited with Judge Johnson yesterday. We went over the bids together. We had 2 bids, one from Construction Manager of Southeast Texas for $256,800. And we had one from True Line Construction from here in Livingston for $130,840.80. And we decided, we'll go with the True Line Construction from here in Livingston for $138.40.
Very well.
We couldn't see much difference in the two bid packages besides the price.
Okay, so we're going with Two Line Construction. It stays under the amount that was originally projected by the court, which was $150, and we will pay it out of the restoration projects funds. Is that your motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Purvis, second.
I second.
Commissioner Cassidy, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item number 9, budget workshop, old business. This was what we tabled from the last meeting. Item A, discuss and consider any necessary action regarding the FY 2024 employee benefits, which would start with the employee health coverage, the major medical health coverage. So on May 30th, we reviewed the 2023-2024 alternate plan proposal, which provides renewal rates for renewing the current plan. You should have a copy of the blue in your packet,
Black,
which is what we're looking at again. You've already seen this information, seen it twice actually, so we're gonna go through it again. At that time, we had requested, there was some discussion with TAC about having a dual option, because obviously part of our concern is that last time when we renewed, those people that were also providing insurance for their children or for their family or their spouse took a pretty good hit in terms of an increase in prices. And so we requested the dual option plan, but after reviewing the dual option plan, it really did not provide a good benefit in either direction. It didn't necessarily really benefit our employees, and it penalized the county for close to $70,000 just for providing that alternate option. The increase for us to move forward with our current proposal is not sustainable because the percentage increase last year, we did an increase in cost of almost 7.5%. Then this year, it would be almost 5.6% increase, and so that is not sustainable for the county or for those employees that are trying to provide insurance to their family members as well. And so we provided you with some options. So you have our current plan here, the employee and family. I'm just gonna go to the bottom line. The employee and family with our current plan would be not quite $2,000, $1,965.46. The renewal rate, keeping the same exact plan, would go to not quite $2,100, it's $2,075.52. Option 1 stays closer to our current plan cost, and that would be, again, not quite $2,000, slightly more than our current plan, and that would be $1,996.06. And then our next option that TAC is making available to us would be $1,927, which is a slight decrease from our current plan. So it's about looks like about a $17, $18 decrease from our current plan for our employees. So we have got to make a decision about this so that we can go ahead and build it into our budget. If we stay where we are, then that is gonna impact the monies available. I will say this, we have multiple programs, we have multiple things that are available to our employees, but we have very, very low participation for those programs and for the availability of alternates. And those resources that are available on our insurance policy are available for preventive care. So the County Wellness Committee, again, is trying to generate some interest, because if we participate, if our county employees participate in those wellness programs and participate in preventive care, then our insurance rates go down. But of course, those are all individual choices, and so we have done everything we can to encourage our employees to participate in those programs. And so Commissioner DuBose, you are now in charge of making sure that every employee participates in those. Since you're on the committee now. So, because we need to make every effort to hold on to good insurance. Now, there was some confusion or some miscommunication, I guess I should say, that if we did reduce our program now, that we could never go back up. You see what I'm saying? That we could never go the other direction. That is inaccurate. The only time that was accurate was when we had grandfathered ourselves. If you will recall, we had grandfathered ourselves and we were trying to hold on to, this was the Pre-Affordable Care Act, right? We were trying to keep our Cadillac insurance and not be penalized by the federal government, by the IRS. So that's the only time that was accurate. So if we are successful in getting our employees and elected officials to take advantage of the Healthy County programs, and we are able to reduce our rates, then we also are able to increase the benefits. So at this time, this is what we're looking at. The difference, if you will look where it says medical plan, if you will look on your form, if you look where it says medical plan, our renewal, our current would be $1,500 and $4,500 for deductibles. The co-insurance maximum would be $3,500 and $7,000 in and out, and $30 for an office visit. If we go to option 1, then the change is from $1,500 to $2,000, and from $4,500 to $6,000 on the deductibles in and out of network. And the co-insurance would go from $3,500 to $4,000, and from $7,000 to $8,000 on the co-insurance maximum, again, for the in and out. And then the office visit would go to $35, so it's a $5 increase. Option number 2 offers more increased deductibles on the in and out and on the co-insurance, and the office visit goes to $40. So really, the office visit, to me, is important, because that's, if you keep that affordable, then you're going to take your children, you're gonna go yourself to get preventive health care. The deductibles, they're still great deductibles compared to other agencies and private industry especially. So it's, the court needs to give me some guidance.
Well, as far as me personally, after I looked at every angle of it, and options and stuff like that, to me, I like option 1. It's more the medium for the people and for the county, as far as my view and aspect, the way I looked at everything.
And
That would be my choice.
And that's a minimal increase for the county, which is still affordable.
I kinda like to keep the same one and just see if the employees will, before we cut them, just give them opportunity to participate and bring it down.
Well, we've been doing that for 11 years. This will be our 11th year. That's how long I've been in office.
So what percentage of employees, participate in bringing down any 100% or 60%?
Oh, well, that's a multiple program.
Well,
So
there's some not gonna participate.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way for me, I just, I guess this is my thing. I think that if we keep what we're keeping, then that's gonna be more children and spouses that are not gonna get covered. And that's my concern.
If we keep it the way it is.
If we keep the current renewal rate, then there's going to be more spouses and children that are not covered, because we already have people sliding that direction, which is also why, we did the Affordable Care Act information to our employees, because if they make that decision, then I would prefer for them to slide from our insurance to another insurance and not have children not covered, right? And, you know, I understand, I mean, when I was 25, I thought I was 6 foot and bulletproof and didn't need insurance, but that's why it's called insurance, not guarantees. And so I think that when we do that, that we are taking an excessive amount of money out of their pocket. I'm trying to put money in their pocket, but still keep coverage for their families. Because that was the outcry last year.
And they're paying a lot more to it first and stuff.
Yes.
With option one, they're paying a minimum between $7 to $14
Correct.
and stuff, you know, and it's more the
It's
medium.
more manageable.
And manageable for both, the way I figured both, for the county and for the people, when I looked at it.
And you're not, what you're really increasing, you're not decreasing the services. The increase for in and out of net, okay, let's take the deductible, the increase in the deductible from the renewal to option one is $500. And the co-insurance maximum, for in-network is $500. And the change in office visit is $5. So the co-insurance is still the 80/60. So the change is really the deductible and $5 on an office visit. And you still, the prescription plan is big also. There's no change in the prescription plan. You know, it still continues as it is.
That's a plus.
That's a huge plus. Okay, so there's no change in the prescription.
And their paychecks don't look big.
Yes. Which is important.
So do you need a motion?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am, I do. Well, I think we have one from Commissioner Dubose to go with option one.
I'll second it.
You second that one? Is there any further discussion? Nope. Nope. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Very well, thank you. That's one thing that will take care of it. Okay. Now, really vote. Okay, everybody has budget vote? Okay, we're gonna do the same thing. If you would, go ahead and just look right past your table of contents to this tax rate planning calendar. Okay, this gives you all us to meet our statutory responsibilities and to do things within the correct timeline that will keep us, part of why we push for our budget, because some of you are probably still hearing other counties saying, oh, well, we just voted on our budget in September 29th. Part of why we have moved all of our budgeting up earlier in the year is because we don't wanna have a court in the future that should ever get caught unawares, given what the statutory legislative requirements are now, if they should ever need to increase taxes. So we don't wanna put them in a bind if that should ever occur. So, this tells you exactly when things are scheduled. You're gonna notice there are a couple of highlighted ones on July the 25th. That's a big one. We can either receive or schedule a special meeting to receive the no new revenue and the voter approval tax rates. So that is very, very important. And then August 1st, if needed, we may have a special session for the workshop, again, to receive it. Depends when we receive them. There's a very finite time periods that they give us for receiving that information and scheduling the public hearing and moving forward with budget. So that's more than FYI. Okay, we'll go ahead and flip to the next page. Some of this is repeat information, but it gives you the breakdown of our debt obligation. So we're on FY 2024, and you'll see that we have the 2018 tax notes, the 2019 tax notes, our referendum bond which was a renegotiated Series 2020, then the 2020 tax notes, 2021 tax notes, and 2022. So you have the total debt schedule. It'll show you, like our debt requirement for this year is $3,703,892.71. On the next page, on section 2, page 2, it shows you the debt requirement for each road and bridge. So make sure you review that information. And then if you flip the page again. Okay, what you're going to see this year, because we have not been able, they still have a lot of values that are under protest. So it's difficult for us to estimate. Chad Hill has not been able to estimate at this time because they have a lot of properties under protest. But if you look at your the 2023 tax revenue calculations, we put all of 2023 on here so that all of you could take a look at it, including our new commissioners. And then if you flip the page onto 2024, then you're gonna notice that basically what we did is we inserted the estimates at this point, but it does not include the values that are currently under protest. So with the current figures that we have right now, we would be, the tax revenue is slightly lower than it would have been last year, which only speaks to the amount of growth that this county has been experiencing. So even with the values that are under protest, we still are close to what we would need. So we don't anticipate any kind of shortfall, but we do want to keep you up to date. So if you look on section 3, page 3, which is the 2024, you have the blocked-in section that says all actual and tax revenue, current and delinquent. In the middle of the page, on page 3. Okay, you have the 25,779,29 in total ad valorem tax revenues, which is current and delinquent. That funds. And July 25th is when we will have the final numbers. As part of the crunch that happened with the way that the legislature set it up, is they put a crunch on the county deadlines, but they did not modify things for the appraisal district, and they didn't modify things for the tax assessor collector, and so everybody's on a different crunch, on different ends of the spectrum. Any questions so far?
Not yet.
That's why we give it to you ahead of time. And we will, if we get information, if we get clearer information, I guess I should say, from the tax appraisal district, then we will provide it to the court. And if necessary, we can have just a workshop to go through this very specific information. Not myself included, but maybe for you two with Carrie, so she can go through each line with you. I can't participate, that would be a quorum. Okay, so, you flip the page again, section 3, page 5. That's your road and bridge funding. And again, keep in mind that this is where we are right now. That's not the final number. And then, under that, you have the distribution of road and bridge portion for the tax rate. If there have been any changes to this, we need to know by July 11th meeting. So if you've added roads, deleted bridges, done anything like that, then we need to know. Okay, section 5. This is the notice that will come out from the court in terms of increases in elected official salaries, expenses, and allowances. We have a few changes. The big one is Judge Brown, the county court at law judge. The legislature is now determining what their salary will be. And so his salary increase that was granted by the legislature was $14,000. So he goes from $159,000 to $173,000. Commissioner Purvis has an increase in longevity. Judge Raspberry has an increase in longevity. And then on the bottom one, on the constables, this is a recommendation that we're making. However long ago, the court started a warrant service where the constables received an additional $10,000, which was a warrant service supplement, which was included in their pay. It it was supposed to include quarterly reports of warrant service. Those warrant service quarterly reports have been quite a challenge to receive. And since it's already included in their pay, it seems nonsensical to say, well, okay, you can have half your pay, but you're gonna have to give us information for the other half of your pay. Especially since it's not like the court was ever gonna take that money away. And so instead of requiring reports that are not being provided, why not just, it's a salary supplement that they had been receiving. And so we just slid that into, the warrant service into the salary. They are still receiving the same amount of money, it just slides it into their salary line instead of keeping it in a warrant service line. So the original pay, was $18,755.15, and the warrant service supplement was $10,000 every year. So we just are recommending that we go to $28,755.15. And then the rest of the changes would be longevity changes. Constable Cunningham has a $500 increase per se because of longevity. So this is what would get posted. This is the notice that would be posted to the public. Any questions? Does anyone have any objections to moving the warrant service up into the constable pay?
And we never got no warrants for the serve anyway.
Yes.
No, sir, we didn't. At least not in my time. It was hit and miss. Okay. Okay, on the next one, okay, section 6. That is, where we currently stand in terms of our tax notes. So you have, the aftermarket equipment, on leased vehicles for the sheriff and the district attorney's office in the amount of $123,895.50. And then you have acquisition of computer equipment and software. County clerk, $65,000, the judicial center, video surveillance and access control upgrades, $229,800. Emergency management, audiovisual equipment upgrade, $150,000. And the district clerk, county court at law, justice model for Tyler Technologies, $25,200. Which is, if you look immediately to your right, you can see what the previous notes, what we've done in the past. And so, we're making it more manageable. And we're making it more manageable because, one, our vehicle purchases, we've gone to the lease program, so that has kept it on a more even cycle instead of having these huge cyclical ups and downs. If you look at the tax note issues that were issued for 2019, that amount was $1,750,000 because that included a bunch of vehicles that in some cases we do not currently own, but we're still paying on them. So now we're monitoring our lease program to make sure that we do benefit. Any questions on that? And our original goal when we moved some of these things around was to try to keep ourselves at the $500,000 to $600,000 mark, right, to not go above that, so that we could stabilize our debt as well. Okay. Page 1, now I'm gonna start giving you pages. Okay, page 1, your mixed beverage, tax allocation, top section, 1155 on the general fund revenue. That has kind of gone up and down, but we're estimating that, we can increase those amounts from the previous, just based on the previous history. Same thing with commercial life safety. We've increased those amounts also based on the current trend that's happening right now. If you look at the scofflaw fees for the JPs at the bottom of the page, there's no change on those. Flip the page to page 2. At the top of the page, we have modified those numbers to reflect the current estimates or the current revenue that's been generated. So JP Precinct 1 estimate is $140,000. JP Precinct 2 is $110,000. JP Precinct 3 estimated revenue is $70,000, and JP Precinct 4 estimated revenue is $180,000. Okay, page 3. The district clerk fees, the $4,700. We increased those based on current estimates to $300,000. And then the court reporter fees, $47,550, is we increased those to $25,000. There's more activity, obviously, in the courts now that the courts have opened back up. In some courts, we do have a significant backlog, and so we're trying to catch up. Okay, page 4. Depository interest. You're gonna notice on the 4100s, the third line from the top, that budget decreased. It's not because the money went away. It was because that was the estimate for general fund, and we moved some of that to use for debt, for the court and courthouse, for the jail, for the sheriff's office, fire marshal, some assorted equipment. And sometimes when we move some of those, the depository interest, we also put it in another area where it will generate interest for that particular project or that particular area. Page 5, your assistant prosecutors, longevity, delinquent tax reimbursement, delinquent tax personnel, all of those are a wash. It increases, but it doesn't impact our budget because that money is reimbursed to the county. Okay, page 7. On line item 7100. You're gonna see an increase in rent for county property. That is the additional rent that will, with a current rate, will be generated by the Wheatgrass building that the county recently purchased. Page 9. Software maintenance. County judge on us. At one time, we had put the software maintenance under the court and under my office, but we have now moved it to IT, which is really where it belongs. It's all yours, Casey. Okay, on page 10, the discretionary salary pool. Currently, we have 4% in there. And if we approve it, then those monies will get moved to each department for them to disseminate. Page 12, election workers, that's due to an increase in cost that will be incurred by the county clerk's office now because of the number of election days in both the primary and the general election. Okay, we're gonna skip a few pages. Page 20. Contracts, operating expenses under IT, that's just a transfer on 3560, that's just a transfer from one line item to another, but the money stays within that budget. On page 30. You've already seen this information, it's the very top one, 1010. That's a salary for county court at law. I just didn't want you to have a heart attack twice. And that's a change as defined by the legislature. And it gives you an explanation of which House bill it was, but if you look at it, then it could have been $191,480, but that bill did not pass. So we give you the information here so that you understand where it's coming from. Okay, next page, page 39. Yeah, starting with juvenile detention expenses, 4760, down through Children's Haven and CASA. Those do not get moved up arbitrarily by us. Those must match the child safety fees that are generated. So those monies must equal. Again, the salary change that's being proposed to remove the warrant requirements, that's on the constables, and the constables start on page 49. I don't think there's any reason going back over the same thing. Page 56. There's an increase in contracts with social services. Line item 3560, and that increase is for prescription management, which is what we approved at the last quarter. So you see, as things change, when we're moving towards the end of the budget, then we include it so that every time, if we vote on something, then every time the next meeting, when we do a budget meeting, it should be reflected in this document. Okay. Next page is page 60. And those are just changes, there's no increase at this time. That was environmental enforcement and the fire marshals, so 60 and 61. And on 60, on salaries, on line item 1050, that is the officer and the secretary. So we left the secretary in environmental enforcement. So that's personnel just going back into the department. We haven't changed anything in terms of the budget. The budget has stayed separate, so we just moved the personnel back in there. And the same thing for the fire marshal, which is on page 61. Okay, page 64. And 65. Okay, on 64, line number 0510, transfer to aging. Historically, our aging services department has been able to stand on its own because it's a strictly a grant-based program. However, if we wish to maintain it, then we are going to have to put some support in there this year, because food costs have increased, but the grant monies have not increased to reflect that inflationary cost. So, if you look at it, it's pretty consistent, so we're going to have to increase our participation. We did increase our participation, last year, because they were already definitely feeling it with COVID and some of the impact it was having on our senior citizens. And so we are going to have to increase it again, this year. Furthermore, the need across the entire county has increased in terms of the impact that all this has had on Manifest, on Habitat for Humanity, on Center of Hope. All of the churches that provide those types of feeding services have seen an impact. So we are going to have to increase our contribution and go from the $78,201 to $85,035. So, which brings us to the bottom line, which is on the bottom of page 64 and on the top of page 65. That at this point in time, with the information that has been presented to you, the deficit, and I don't think we will have any problem with it, the deficit at this point is $1,093,814. So that's the final balance right now with our current revenue and our current tax rate as it stands. That's not including the new growth, because we don't know yet where we are on the new growth. That is, if nothing changed, that's where we would be. So, also keep in mind, this is still with no new positions, but it does include the 4% increase, right, in each department. And it also includes our current healthcare. So immediately it's going to go down since we went with option 1. So here's some things we know. We know that Polk County is growing. We know that our tax revenue is going to increase because of the residential development. So we know that, because our development is exploding across this county. We all know that because of the number of subdivisions that we have approved, because of the current conditions. Also, I-69 is here. We are currently in the process of building the I-69 loop around Corrigan. It's knocking at our doorsteps on both ends. It's knocking doorsteps on the north end in the Dival area, and it's knocking south of us in Liberty County and San Jacinto County. So we know it's here. We know that I-14 is coming. So we know that we have got to make a commitment to our residents to have good infrastructure, good development, and to continue to maintain our quality of life. I spoke at Lions Club the other day, and one of them asked me, can we put a sign up that says, no, you are no longer welcome, just move on, in terms of development. Obviously, we can't do that. However, I do think that this court has made every effort to ensure good quality of life. And we will continue to make that effort to maintain good quality of life. And we've done that by making sure that we had a strong water development, that we had good, strong subdivision regulations that would ensure that we did not have a plum grove erupt in the middle of our county, and that we are making every effort to get the subdivisions that were what I would consider underdeveloped, to try to find ways to assist those residents. Unfortunately, those subdivisions that were built in the 70s, where they have paths that they call roads, because all of those are private. That is private property, private roads, and we can't do anything about it other than try to provide as much assistance as we can to those residents. Furthermore, we know that the development that's occurring in Polk County is gonna have a very big impact on our school districts. Okay, our school districts are gonna get flattened if we're not careful and we're not cautious about it. I will do the same thing that we've done in the past. We need to remember that this is not a money-based budget, it's a need-based budget. So it's not based on how much money do we have and how quickly can we spend all of it. I got a penny in my pocket and it's burning a hole kind of manager, and so we will continue to be very conservative. We will pay attention to what the long-term projections are for Polk County, but we do need to be able to adjust, and we need to be able to respond to the needs of our community and to our residents. We also need to assess our economic development impact that some of these businesses are gonna have, and continue to maintain our subdivision requirements, because that is what is going to protect us from minimal or substandard development. And that is what's also gonna protect us from any issues that might arise from neighboring property owners, because we've already dealt with that. We've already dealt with someone coming along and plowing under a tract of land, and then every neighbor around them screaming the next time it rained, right? Because everything was now shuffled off into their driveways. So right now, we know that interest rates are increasing, so we're gonna keep an eye on that. Hopefully the economy is stabilizing a little bit. But we do need to be very clear about the difference between what we want and what we need to provide good services to our residents. I will say this to you four up here. We are going to do everything we can to increase the budget for the commissioners, because even though we do have Harvey mitigation monies coming, the Harvey mitigation monies have come with strings attached, and so the only way for commissioners to be able to fill those gaps is for them to have some funds that are flexible. You know, that don't have the federal government or the state government or the general land office or somebody dictating how those dollars need to be spent. So, Any questions? Come on, Jerry Wayne.
Not yet.
Commissioner Purvis?
No, ma'am, not right now.
Not at this time.
Okay. I'll bring all these old ones with me in case someone has a question, and I'll say, well, last time. Very well. That was all strictly budget, workshop. We approved the healthcare option 1, so we will include that in there. Capital projections pretty much stay where they are at unless something major gets added between now and then. And, the proposed salaries.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
What time is it?
11:06.
Thank you, ma'am.